Are you looking for ways to grow your ridership dramatically, even beyond your pre-pandemic levels? I'm Paul Comfort. You're going to want to stay tuned to this episode of Transit Unplugged, where I talk with Eve Wiggins, Director of Transit at a major transit system in Mississauga, Ontario, outside of Toronto. They have 500 buses, and they have grown their ridership to 109% of their pre-pandemic levels, 27% over the last year. She tells us how. We also talked to Eve about her career. She's had a great career, 20 years in the Toronto airport, and then working as a group station manager at Toronto Transit Commission for Andy Byford. Then to Metrolinx, where she was vice president of bus services for several years, and now as director of transit for the full city of Mississauga. A great talk about the differences between when you're the CEO, the top person, and when you're in senior leadership, and how you can approach that differently. And finally, we talk about what the future holds for Mississauga when it comes to zero-emission fuels. I think you'll be surprised about what's happening there. Stay tuned on now this episode where we talk to Eve Wiggins, Director of Transit in Mississauga. Let's join the conversation. I'm excited to be with Eve Wiggins, who is the Director of Transit in Mississauga, Ontario, MiWay transit system, which happens to be, Eve, where the headquarters of one of our big companies is, Trapeze, right in Mississauga. So I've actually been up there probably half dozen times. Great place, by the way. That's right. Good morning, Paul. Good to talk to you. Yeah, good to talk to you too. I'm so excited about the work you're doing at MiWay Transportation. So I want to just dive right in if you're good with it. Absolutely. Let's go. Yeah. I love the story of you came to Mississauga to see some dramatic improvements. And man, you have driven the growth. You and your agency have driven the growth of service in public transit there dramatically, haven't you? Yeah, the agency has been growing leaps and bounds since the end of the pandemic. It's been a very fast recovery. I'd say different from other cities. There's something special going on here in Mississauga. I have just recently joined only in November. So this growth, I can't take any credit for it as much as I'd like to, but essentially I was brought in to help serve and support that growth and help get this transit system really delivering service for all of the customers and the increasing number of customers that we're having. 27% growth in 1 year, which is the numbers you're boasting now, are phenomenal. Tell us some about the system itself, the modes you operate, where it operates, et cetera, the closeness to Toronto, et cetera. We cover, and I'm going to give you the metric version, but we cover a population in the city of Mississauga. And this is 2021 data, but it's 717,000 and probably 22. We've grown a bit as well. So we're just shy of 1 million residents in the city of Mississauga. The size is 292, just short of 300 square kilometers. And you can translate that into square miles. And the service itself, we have in 2023, we served 41 million customers on 65 routes. And we have 51 local routes, 6 express routes. And we also add service in the school season. So we have also routes covering high schools as well. We offer 24-hour service. And we are all exclusively bus service, but we do have a bus rapid transit way as well. Otherwise, we are predominantly intercity. Gotcha. You got 500 vehicles, 1,400 employees, and 3,200 bus stops too, right? That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big system. And just outside of Toronto, it's a great city. You've got a lot going on. I mean, let's talk about that because so many agencies across North America are still struggling with getting back up to pre-pandemic ridership levels, and we're almost done talking about it, I think. I think most CEOs I've talked to are like, Paul, I'm done with it. This is our new normal. We're at 80%. This is what it's going to be because a lot of people are still doing hybrid working, and that's for the foreseeable future. But your agency has figured out a way. I mean, you're over your pre-pandemic ridership numbers from 2019. I think I saw numbers like 109%. That's correct. Of what it was. So tell us what's happening and what's the secret sauce? Yeah, what's the secret sauce is I think it's about for us to return the level of service, number of hours that we're putting in service, recruiting operators as quickly as we can. We're looking for in excess of 100 bus operators, and we are certainly in competition. So as you mentioned, we are just next to the city of Toronto, so we are right next door, and we offer connections to them. And the city of Brampton is just north of us. And we are all looking for upwards of 1,000 bus drivers. We are all looking to hire
between
this year.
The three agencies.
So between the three agencies.
Wow.
So there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of jobs and a lot of work. And I think that's part of the secret sauce as well. We just had Amazon open a huge facility. We have some other industrials. Mississauga is still the largest cross-docking facility in North America for trucking. So trucking generates a lot of employment. There's a lot of factories, a lot of industrial operations that have opened up. Bombardier's opening a new plant right on the airport property. So Toronto Pearson International Airport is also within the city of Mississauga. So there's a lot of employment that is rising here in Mississauga, and transit is responding. And transit ridership, they want to take the bus, and we are thrilled about that. And we are looking to deliver them the best product that we can and continuously improve that product.
And your service is a real connector, right? It connects in with other services in your region?
That's right. We connect with the provincial intercity provider, Go Transit. We connect with the TTC, the City of Toronto Service, the Toronto Transit Commission. We connect with the Brampton Transit to the north. We connect with Oakville Transit to the west. We are bordered by the lake to the south. But we connect our residents and our customers across the region with all of the other transit as well.
And how does that work with intermodal fare cards or whatever? Are you able to use the same card between different services, or does everybody have their own?
Yep. So we are a Presto-enabled system, so similar to TTC, OC Transpo in Ottawa, and also Go Transit. We are all Presto systems. And right now, we are 2 fares. So you tap once and then tap onwards. We do have a fare agreement with Go Transit. And I heard there is a fare agreement coming with the other systems as well. So it'll be better for riders, but more on that with what I think is going to be a government announcement soon.
So it sounds like it's a combination of factors, like it always is, right, to see the growth. One is what you can do. It sounds like you've increased the service levels, the frequency back up to what it was pre-pandemic. So you're offering services at the same levels. Then you've got the great connections with the other major regions around you, Toronto being one of them, Brampton the other. And then also, thirdly, I'm hearing you say that having enough staff to deliver that service is another factor. So let's talk about you, because we've mentioned a lot of transit systems in the area, and you've actually worked for most of them. So I think you're really well positioned to kind of take this job because of your background and experience. Tell me a little bit about all that and how all that played out.
That's right. So actually, I started my career in aviation. I thought I was going to be a pilot or a big blue sky. I thought I was going to be an astronaut when I was a teenager. So for those of your listeners that are just coming into transit, you never know what the route is that you're going to take to get there. So I did 20 years in aviation, and the last 12 of that at Toronto Pearson Airport. Actually, I worked in airport operations in a number of fields. In a number of departments. And I got this amazing call from a headhunter to go and work for the TTC, or the Toronto Transit Commission. Andy Byford, we all know Andy, had just arrived, and he was modernizing the system, and he was implementing the group station manager concept that he was bringing over from the London Underground. So I was one of 5 unheard of external people to come in at a relatively senior level to join the Toronto Transit Commission as a group station manager, where I did that for 2 years. And then there were a number of changes at that time, but I was then asked to move over and run the paratransit operations. So for 4 years, I was the TTC's head of Wheeltrans, which is the name of their paratransit product. And I did that until 2018, when I got another call from the same headhunter that said, now you want to go and work for the provincial transportation provider, and that being Go Transit, where I was asked to be the vice president of bus services. And so I looked after Go Bus on the ops and maintenance side for 4 years. And then I took a little break of a few months to kind of consider what I really wanted to do next, and looked into really focusing on myself, focusing on leadership. And then same headhunting company called me and said, here's your next role for you. And we want you to come to the city of Mississauga and be their new director of transit.
I think we all need to get the phone number of that headhunter firm. They're just giving you all the good leads there.
They are. And I heard once somebody said that, what's the secret to your career success? And it's that whenever anybody offers you an opportunity, you say yes.
Interesting.
And it was about just really transit. Why would I want to do that? My career is in aviation.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking at that time of, I was turning 40 at that time, and it was about, do I want to do this for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And there's something happens around that age, I think, for most people is, if I keep doing it, then I'm going to be stuck doing it. And this is all I'm going to be.
That's interesting.
And then when I just put that intention out there and the call came, and it was, yes, this is going to be amazing. And as we've all heard of the TTC, I mean, it's a storied company. It's a part of the fabric of, if anybody lives in Southern Ontario or lives in Toronto, it's an absolute integral part of the fabric. So the opportunity to work for such an organization was really something I jumped at.
Yeah. And such a great leader with Andy Byford, who's, I consider, the Western world's leading transit executive, doing Toronto, then New York City, then London, and now back helping Amtrak go high-speed rail. I just saw Andy a few months ago, and he told me all the cool things going on. I'm very excited about what's happening there. So you had a great opportunity, I think, to be mentored by one of the industry's best.
My gosh, what a guy, and what an opportunity to spend even just 2 minutes with somebody like that. And just 2 minutes with Andy would just fill you up and make you feel incredible for months after. He just had that, he asked about the secret sauce of transit. I think he just had that secret sauce of leadership, of believing in people and helping people to believe in themselves. Yeah. And then that was all it took, really, is just like, away we go. Let's do something really amazing. And he made us believe it. And once you believe it, you can do it.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit different, though, isn't it? So you've been in positions where you weren't the very top person in transit. You had these other folks like Andy and Phil Verster up in Metrolinx that you're working with and for, and now you're catapulted into the top job. Tell me about that, the differences there, and what's it like, and what's your approach?
I got to be honest. I have to tell you, it's pretty awesome to be the top transit dog here. Is it's great because it's really now down to me, and that I can really I learned from those incredible leaders what to do, and then I learned from those incredible leaders in those moments of, hey, maybe I would do something differently. And now this is my opportunity to lead and to support the organization. Now I really see myself at the City of Mississauga being their transit guide, if you will. And really it's an awesome responsibility to support the organization of the city and the city itself, and make those decisions, and then grow and support the team that work for me and work with me to really be their experts in their field. Our maintenance lead to be that expert and allow him to really do what he needs to do on the maintenance side. My job is to move obstacles out of the way, and then communicate that properly up to, I report to the Commissioner of Transportation and Works, and then he in turn reports to the city manager. And so they have a lot of other things on their plate. So it's pretty cool that I get to look after this amazing transit organization. Do
you have any unique kind of like perspectives on leadership when you're in a top position? So do you have particular approaches that you'd like to share today?
Yeah, absolutely. I follow this newly coined term, the CASTLE principles. And CASTLE stands for courage, authenticity, service, truthfulness, love, believe it or not, and effectiveness. And all of them support each other. And at the end, if you're not effective, then there's really no point, right? Like that's the number one thing that we want to be, but you need courage sometimes to be effective. You need authenticity. You need to be an authentic person, an authentic leader. You need to be in service. And that was some of the work that I've learned, is that before it used to be about pleasing, the Andy Byfords, the Phil Versters. It was really about, when I reported to them, it was about pleasing and supporting that leader, and what would they have me do? And now, really, as in the top transit job here at the city, is about, what do my employees need? How can I support them? how can I serve them best and help them do the right thing? And it's really changed the dynamic. It's much more important to me, although of course I still want to keep my job, but it's really important to me that my employees know that I'm in service of them. I make it a point to head out and see my frontline employees at least once a week, that I'm in the garage, that I'm talking to them, that I'm shaking their hands, that I'm asking them about their families, that I'm saying thanks on difficult days. I was in here on New Year's Eve. I came in just to say hi and thanks to those that were here. We unfortunately had a horrible collision and the other week, and I made sure that I was in the hospital with the family. So it really is, I'm really coming to embrace the role of service.
Yes.
And then, truthfulness, right? It's like people just want to hear the truth. Even if it's bad news to them, even if it's something that you can't do for them, they want to hear the truth. So like, that's absolutely what I want to do, is just be authentic and truthful and loving, right? Is about, they're all humans. Nobody comes to work to do a bad job. So if somebody's done something that they shouldn't, and we all know in transit things happen, that you have to deal with the employees who are doing silly things there out on the road or out in the system, is really just sitting down and speaking to them and saying, hey, what happened? What happened with you today? Rather than that approach, I think that we used to, that I think we need to get out of. I think the pandemic taught us a lot about being better supportive of each other. And that's not necessarily, the approach that had been taken before. You don't intend to do a bad job. I'm going to show you, here's how we need to do a great job here. And together, all of us doing our part, wow, what amazing things can happen if we do that.
I think that's awesome. I kind of view, especially at a larger system such as yours, where you have like over 1,000 employees, I kind of view the role of a transit director, general manager, CEO, whatever the title is, like a mayor of a town. You're handling, not just transit, HR, finance, IT, procurement, legal, PR, all the stuff that you would if you were managing, like a town, but also the leadership principles you just mentioned there. A lot of them are like those of an elected official, right? Dealing with people with authenticity, being out front, visiting, your employees when they're sick, all that kind of stuff. You really are, it really is an all-encompassing leadership position.
Absolutely. And what I think sometimes, leaders and as I was coming up, is sometimes you're afraid, right? You might hide in your office. There's often that people can be accused of that. Certainly the higher up you go, the less time you have in your diary. Yeah. But I found that is, and before I used to be, well, what do I say? Right. I hold my hand up quite honestly and say, I didn't do my front line. I didn't pay my dues in the transit world, right? I paid my dues in aviation. I did other shift work doing other things frontline, but I didn't do that in transit. So it's the, what do I say, right? What's important to transit operators? And I'm very lucky that my husband has been in the transit world for almost 30 years now. And he started as a bus driver. So he's a great resource for me. And I want to go talk to my operators. What do I ask them? Ask them how long they've been driving. That's really important to a bus operator. They really care about that. Ask them what their day is like. Ask them what their shifts are like. Ask questions. And once I figured out how to do that, I'm away at the races. And I tell you, those days when I go and it's unscripted and it's not a structured meeting, those are my best days. That's when I feel the best. That's when I feel most energetic, is when I've had time to speak to the frontline employees. Wow, they do so much and they sacrifice so much. And I want to be sure that they know how much I value and appreciate them for doing that.
I love that, Eve. That's a great perspective. Now let's shift to what's coming to you for the future. I know Canada has really prioritized public transportation in a way maybe that even America hasn't in some respects. It is the heartbeat of many of your cities like yours there. But there's a lot coming up in the future in public transit, whether it's how vehicles are fueled, whether it's any number of things. What do you have coming up for your future of your agency there?
So absolutely growth. We have to, I'm planning that we're coming back in 6 months' time, mid-year, to come back and ask for, we need to, if we were not growing incrementally, given that our demand is not growing incrementally, it's leaping forward. So if we were going to actually catch up to where we should be now, if we weren't trying to grow incrementally on top of the pandemic slowdown, if you will, we need to do a catch up. So we're working on how much is that, right? What is our catch up plan? How many more service hours do we need? And therefore, how many more operators do we need? How many more buses do we need? What does that look like? How many more supervisors? How many more transit enforcement? What does that look like if we were to be comfortably in exactly where we want to be? Okay. And then beyond that is, okay, how do we stay out in front of it? And then the big one for us as well is, okay, with new technology coming in and the Vision Zero policies and programs that the city has in place as well as nationally is about lowering our emissions. And what is the choice of bus and what is the choice of that fuel source? So we are actually, while we were considering electric buses previously, we're now seeing that other transit operators are struggling. And we are in wintertime here now, and we are getting whacked by some cold weather. Finally, it's been pretty balmy and nice for us for the traditional months. We certainly had a green Christmas here, but it is now getting cold, minus 22 Celsius with the wind chill. I'll let your American listeners translate that. And that's not even close to what they're hitting at some of our partner agencies in Edmonton, for example, where it's minus 40 and then over minus 50 with the wind chill. And I think by the time it gets to that temperature, I think Celsius and Fahrenheit are about the same. So it's really darn cold, and electric buses are struggling in these cold temperatures, and the grid is struggling in these cold temperatures. So we are looking to hydrogen. And we are considering our options for actually making our own hydrogen. There is some federal government money that we are trying to take advantage of and submit our proposal for that, which is to purchase the hydrogen fuel source buses, but also to generate our own hydrogen. As all of the listeners would know, the issue with hydrogen, while it might be great, is getting it and getting access to it. And then the question of, well, how is it produced? Is it green hydrogen? Is it not green hydrogen? So yeah, that's what we're focused on now. And in order to do that, in order to buy more buses, we actually need another garage. We are full, our garages. We have two main garages. Our one large garage is divided into two complexes, but really it's one. And then we have another smaller one in the north part of our city. And we need to a third one. And I'm actually saying, let's get on paper a fourth one, because in no time, with the growth that we've experienced and the focus on transit, Mississauga is a very transit forward, transit focused city. We are looking to help our riders and help our constituents and residents of the city of Mississauga to get out of their cars. And if we want them to do that, we need to give them a great alternative. And transit is a great alternative if we can get ourselves there.
Well, you've got a full plate coming up for you, don't you?
I do. It's really fantastic, and I really see that I'm here conducting an incredible orchestra of 1,400 people, and it's not all going to be me. I'm not going to be the one with the great ideas and the best ideas, but it's about setting the dream for everyone and all of them to come up with the great ideas. I'm helping where I can. I'm supporting, certainly on the operations side. We have some new leaders there that need some particular and focused operational supports and just in what are all the interesting tricks of the trade that you can do and how to really get your service humming out there on the street. We need to get some more on-street presence with our supervisors and, kind of catch a bit of the shenanigans that can go on in a big city covering a big footprint. So there's a focus on that operationally, but then it's, all right, how can we grow? How quickly can we train new drivers? How many training classes can we put on to bring all those new drivers in, get them in the seat and get them going, and then make sure that we have enough buses to put them in and deliver that service.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you on being one of the few large agencies that are now growing at a rapid rate, 27% ridership growth, phenomenal over your pre-pandemic ridership numbers. We wish you the very best as you continue to lay out this plan and deliver for the citizens of Ontario.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Paula. It's been great to talk to you.
Hi, I'm Tris Hussey, editor of the Transit Unplugged podcast. Thank you for listening to this week's episode with our guest, Eve Wiggins, head of Mississauga Transit. Coming up next week, we have Holly Arnold, CEO of the Maryland Transit Administration, talking with Paul about her transit career and some of the massive projects on the go at the MTA. We're excited to announce a special Transit Unplugged Live CEO Roundtable hosted by Dr. Khan Yildigoz at UITP MENA Transport Congress and Exhibition on February the 29th at the Trapeze booth. We'll have guests including UITP President Renee Amilcar and the Director General of the Integrated Transport Center in Abu Dhabi, Abdullah Al Marzouki. Look for more information and links in the show notes. The MENA Transport Congress and Exhibition 2024 is the event focusing on sustainable urban mobility solutions in the MENA region. It takes place in Dubai from February 28th to March 1st. The event is co-organized by UITP and Dubai's RTA. The MENA Transport Congress and Exhibition has been a premier platform for showcasing advancements in public transport since 2007. If you have a question or comment, feel free to email us at info@transitunplugged.com. Transit Unplugged is brought to you by Modaxo. At Modaxo, we're passionate about moving the world's people. And at Transit Unplugged, we're passionate about telling those stories. So until next week, ride safe and ride happy.
Hey, are you a member of the C-suite or a senior executive manager of a public transit agency in North America? Well, for you, I'm excited to announce the return of the Think Transit Conference Executive Summit. This is an all-day event that I help curate with our team just for the C-suite of public transit agencies. Here, top leaders share best practices and solve challenges affecting our industry. This year's event will be held on Monday, March 25th, 2024, in Tucson, Arizona, at the JW Marriott Star Pass on the first day of the Think Transit Conference, sponsored by Trapeze and Vontas. This year's exclusive summit offers multiple presentations from your fellow transit executives with two exciting panels. We'll have one panel with Chief Innovation Officers of public transit agencies and another panel with Chief Operating Officers of leading transit systems addressing the latest transit innovations and operations challenges and solutions. We'll also host two roundtable discussions workshopping very real and relevant transit industry hot topics like increasing ridership and revenue and addressing crime and the unhoused on transit. Then stick around for a very special dinner excursion on Monday night for summit participants. All this for only $149, plus you have access to the entire Think Transit Conference. To find out more, visit www.trapezegroup.com/ThinkTransit/Executive Summit. More details are available there, and you can register or send me a note if you have any questions. I consider this a highlight of the year and hope you can join me there.